Hello and welcome to Seen Here Online, and today we're going to be looking at a testing lab, and in our test we're going to be looking at an age domain, one you've brought which has already got lots of links, and that's not necessarily to do with your product. So let's dive straight in and have a quick look at the one we're going to be looking at. So we're going to be looking at this domain here, and we're going to be looking at the payday loan market, as it's a really competitive market, so it's one that's really hard to rank in. So let's have a look and see what effect this domain that was brought a few months ago has had, and I'll deconstruct it and see how they did it. So as you can see there, it's a fairly strong domain. It's got a lot of organic keywords and a lot of referring domains. So that's probably one of the reasons they've chosen this. What I do think is interesting is they're obviously paying for a pay-per-click campaign, so that might have some effect on the rankings and the results. So what we're going to eventually do is we're going to try and reconstruct this in another video and see if we can get a similar result. So let's have a look. The first thing I like to look when we look at an old domain is to see where it's come from, make sure it's not tainted in any way, and it's not being penalised, and it was a legitimate site. So let's have a look and see what they did. Here we go. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the Wayback Machine, and we're going to go all the way back to 2004. Although it's a lot of older domain than that, but 2004 seems to be when the most activity was going on. So let's have a look and see what it was. So here we go. So it was obviously some sort of journal site, very legitimate site, and one reason is probably why it's got a lot of links. So they're using an old site that was solid. Let's have a look. Let's fast forward a little bit further. And here we go, and go to 2010, and again the site's been repurposed to Mr. DOS Portal, but again nothing too severe here or dodgy going on from what we can see. So I think the best thing to do then is then fast forward to 2012, and this is when it first comes up for sale. So this is the first time it's not been used, it's just now laying dormant if you like, and there's a few versions of it there. 2012. So let's fast forward to 2018. So let's have a look at the beginning of November in 2018. You can still see that the site is still up for sale. The domain is still up for sale. Sorry. We come to the end of November 2018. Sorry, and we can see that they've repurposed the site. So here we are. We're at the end of November 2018. They've repurposed the site into a loan site. So what we can see there is that the domain before had nothing to do with loans, finance. It was completely not connected in any way, shape or form, yet they've repurposed it for a loan site. So what's going to be really interesting to see what effect that has had on how the organic searches and so forth have happened, and how they've developed that site over the last 3 to 4 months. So the best thing to do is we're going to use something called SEMrush. I'm sure you've all heard of it. It's one of the best tools out there. There are others available to you, but it's one I like to look. So we can see here that November, absolutely dead. We can see that they've brought it in and November, still nothing's happening. Beginning of December, nothing's happening on this organic search at all, and they're absolutely doing nothing on the paid search actually at this time as well. But then we hit December to January. Wow, just look at the rise there. In 3-4 weeks, they've gone from virtually nothing to over 5,000 organic, which is absolutely immense. And then just a month later, they pretty much have the same growth, so they're up to 10,000 organic there. It's very hard, very rare you see that, especially in such a competitive industry as the payday loan sector. So they're starting to become, really growing and growing. Stop there. As you can see, they're really growing as a site, and we've got to wonder why is that? Is it other factors, or is it just the domain? So the best thing we can do is now go back and have a look at domain. But before we do, just so you can see how much they've grown, you can see at the bottom here, right at the bottom of the chart here at 10,000. But they've got some really big brands around them, and they're catching them fast. Although we can see there's a slight slowdown here, and they've just started using organic because it's obviously paying for itself very well. That's going to keep increasing, I should imagine, and they're going to catch these guys pretty quickly, which is very interesting indeed. Right, so let's have a look at that domain and see why they've brought it, why they're using it, and why they've repurposed it. So straight away we can see they are obviously looking for a lot of, there's a lot of keywords that they are showing for at the moment, which is great, and they're in good positions. You know, don't get me wrong, they're not all number one or so on, but they are in, you know, they're in the top front pages and they're climbing. So there's the odd one that is dipping, but you know, even this one is still on the front page. So let's have a look at it again, as I said, and have a look and see what's going on here. More keywords. So let's look at them links. So we can see all fair, you know, the first scene. So first scene doesn't necessarily mean that's the time it's been added. It just means at the time it's been picked up on the crawler. But you can still see it's old. And look at, you know, this is why this is a powerful domain. Look at that. Fantastic. Really some, you know, some real strong links they've got here. And but you know, Wikipedia, there's a few other ones that probably not so recognisable. So I think the best thing we can do is just pick one and have a look and see if it's a legitimate domain, what they're doing, have they picked up like the PBM, what it is exactly they've actually done. So what we're going to use this python.org. We're going to have a look at this one and see what's going on here. So we can see it looks like a very legitimate old site. Nothing too dodgy going on. It looks like it was in action. Obviously, it's picked up a lot of links itself and ranking. And one of the reasons we now know, if we do a bit more investigation down the bottom here on the right, we can see that actually it was last edited in 2013. Well, that means that this site has been around a lot longer than at 2013, and it was obviously having regular updates up until this point. So that tells us that it was on the original site. So that's what, you know, and a lot of the links we've had a look through are very similar to this. There's nothing too untoward that's in them links. So it's a really powerful, trusted site. Although it's not to do with payday loans, it's flowing all that lovely Google juice right through and giving it that boost that it needed that you don't often get. So the best thing to do then is compare. So you can see just how impressive, just in 2 months they've got to 10,000 organic. We're going to look at a very similar site, this one here, lonepig.co.uk. So same industry, and this is how. So these guys started in May 2017, and they had a little bit of movement, but not much. And okay, at Jan 2018, they probably started to hit nearish to 10,000-ish. But really, you're talking February to March is when they started to make the gains, like the other site did. So that one. I don't know, that's like 7-8 months worth of working on it to get the same result as that age domain did in just 2.5 months. So as you can see how impressive the result was of using that age domain. Now I'm not saying this is only one we found. We're going to run the test ourselves. We're going to see if we can recreate that over the next couple of months. We're going to keep you guys updated so you can see the benefits of it. We're also going to have a look at, obviously we've seen they've done a bit of paid search, but that was a bit later on, so their main gains were without the paid search, but something maybe we might factor in as time goes on. But it's going to be a really interesting test. Obviously we don't know, one, how much they've paid for the domain to start with, so we're going to have, in our test, we'll have a look at that to see, you know, a domain of that quality, how much that might cost you, or does it cost, you know, virtually nothing? Is it, you know, it'd been sat there free since 2012. They might have got a very good price on it. So we're going to have a little play around and show you exactly how that happens. But I hope this has been really insightful for you to see just how one age domain can do to your organic search there. I think that's really crucial for you guys. A really good example of using a different type of technique to give your site a boost initially. Well, thanks for listening. I hope this has been helpful.